All right, guys, so today we're working on a collaboration. What's the collaboration? Well, it's called hashtag Cooking Against Cancer. So today you're going to see a lot of different videos come out where we're all going to be putting out videos of our favorite dishes that, someone we knew was affected by cancer. For me, it's a personal thing. My wife has battled breast cancer, and so far we're on the winning end of that. So what I'm doing today is going to be a little different. Usually I'm out there in the backyard on the grills or whatever. Today I'm taking it to the kitchen. So what are we doing? Today we're going to do shrimp and grits in a boudin gravy. Y'all with it? Let's get it. All right, so let's talk about the ingredients we're going to use today. We've got some green onion, and basically we're going to use this green onion to garnish our dish at the end. And we've got some celery, some flour. It's going to be our good thickening agent. Our mascarpone cheese. It's going to be add a good creaminess to our grits, which is here. We've got our grits. We've got our heavy cream. We've got minced garlic. We've got our Cajun Life all-purpose Cajun seasoning. We've got some shrimp, and this shrimp is already shelled and deveined, guys. So that's why I'm not showing you that process, because I try to make it easy for myself by getting shrimp that's already shelled and deveined. I've got some unsalted butter because I want to control that salt content as we go along. I've got my onions, again, bell peppers, seafood stock right here. We've got our andouille sausage, and this andouille sausage is compliments of Scott over at Texas Sausage Company. It's great andouille sausage, so that's what we're going to use today. We've got our boudin, and last, we've got our brandy, guys. So this is what we're going to put in our shrimp and grits today. So let's get started. All right, guys, we're going to get started by getting together our Holy Trinity. And if you're not familiar with that, Holy Trinity is going to be 3 vegetables. Obviously with Trinity, it's going to be our celery, our onions, and our bell peppers. I get a lot of questions about the knives that I use. This is a Dow Strong. It's the Shogun series. So that is the knife that I'm going to be using today. And this is the chef's knife. So let's get started, guys. We're just going to go ahead and get this celery chopped up. When you're making your Holy Trinity, guys, you can make the vegetables as fine a chop as you want, or you can make it a rough chop. It's totally up to you. I kind of go back and forth. It really just depends on the mood I'm in. So next up is our bell pepper. Okay, next up, we've got our onion. So we'll go ahead and get this guy chopped up. And we'll reserve the other half. I don't think I'm going to use more than half this onion, so we'll keep it moving. All right, guys, so this is the aromatics we're going to be using here. So again, we've got our celery, we got our bell peppers, and we got our onions, also known as the Holy Trinity. So let's get going to the next step. All right, guys, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our andouille. We're going to get our andouille chopped up and kind of sweat them down a little bit here in our pan. So I just kind of cut the andouille longwise like that, and then again longwise straight down. And then we're just going to give it a chop, just kind of a rough chop. And I gotta tell you, I had this andouille for the first time when we were over at T-Roy's house, and Scott showed up with this andouille that we did with our crawfish boil. And I gotta tell you, man, this andouille is really good. Prior to that, andouille sausages that I've had before, I didn't really care for all that much. But this one is actually pretty good. So big shout out to Scott over at Texas Sausage Company, guys. All right, so we'll keep this moving around here. And again, all we're gonna do is just kind of sweat this down a little bit, and it's gonna be kind of the beginning of the base of our flavors. Again, we're on a medium heat right now, and we've got our andouille sausages kind of sweating away. We got a pretty decent sweat going on here. And this is all I'm really looking for. Just get some of that flavor into the pot. And what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna pull this out of the pot, and we'll set this to the side and reserve it for a little bit later so we can get on to our next step, guys. All right, guys, so we got our andouille out of the pot, and all we've got is that goodness from the andouille left. And so now it's gonna be time for us to get our Holy Trinity put in here and get it sweating down. And I'm gonna toss in a little bit of butter here. So we've been letting this Holy Trinity sweat down here, I don't know, for roughly about 5 minutes or so. And I actually did kick up the heat to high when I started to put this on. So we're just keeping it moving around. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add a little flour here. And I'm probably gonna add about 2 tablespoons. And we'll get that moving around. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually gonna go with 3 tablespoons. It's kind of important at this stage, once you put your flour in, guys, you want to kind of keep it moving around because you don't want anything to burn on you. At this point, you'll feel everything kind of getting really thick on you. And that's what you want. At this point, I'm fairly confident that we've got our raw flavor cooked out in this flour. So this is where it gets a little fun for us. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off our burner here, or our induction plate. And what we've got here, guys, is we've got 3/4 of a cup of brandy. So we're gonna go ahead and get this brandy poured in. At which point we'll go ahead and turn our burner or induction plate back on. And now what we're gonna do, be very careful as you do this, we're gonna light the brandy. And there you go. And I'm not sure if you guys can see that flame, but we're just gonna basically let this brandy burn down. This is gonna help us get a really wicked flavor into this dish. And it really makes it nice and rich. If you haven't tried putting brandy in here, man, you gotta try it. I'm telling you, it's really good. I'm basically just gonna leave that guy alone and just let it keep going until all the flames are out. I think it's gonna burn all the alcohol off and leave us all the good flavor. Still a little bit more flames going. So now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and drop in our garlic. Now I got a couple tablespoons of garlic here. And you can just see just how thick this is right now. Okay, and now at this point, this is where we're gonna go ahead and introduce our seafood stock. And you just kind of let everything kind of work its way together. At the same time, we're gonna go ahead and toss in our Cajun Life all-purpose Cajun seasoning. We're gonna kind of just let this incorporate together, and we'll keep adding a little bit more seafood stock as we go along. At this point, man, I mean, if your preference is to put in, you know, crushed tomatoes or whatever, canned tomatoes, you could absolutely do that at this point if you like. I don't tend to do that. I tend to leave it just the way it is. I've tried it both ways, and there's no harm, no foul either way. It's just a personal preference thing. You do what you like. Adding a little bit more stock there. All right. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and pop the lid on here, and we're gonna let this come up to a boil. We've had this pot simmering here now for probably about 8 or 9 minutes. And we're doing pretty good here. And at this point, I'm actually gonna add some more seafood stock. And we'll kind of let this all come together and bring it back to a boil again and let it simmer it. And reduce a little bit. Every time we're doing this, we're kind of intensifying flavors, guys. So that's why I kind of take my time when I do this. So we are going to put the top back on this pot here and let it come back to a boil, and we'll simmer it down again, and I'll bring you back when we're ready, guys. We've had this going now for probably about another 10 minutes since we were last on. And you can see it's kind of thickening up a little bit for us. The next part of this that we're going to do, so I know you guys are kind of anxious and you're like, hey man, I know I saw some boudin. What's he going to do with that boudin? Well, this is what we're going to do with the boudin, guys. We're going to take this boudin and we're basically going to cut the casing, and we're going to take the boudin out and drop it in. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so just like that, guys, we got our boudin put in here. We'll break it up as it goes along. And we can see our broth is getting nice and thick for us. So we're gonna add a little bit more seafood stock in here. So what I'm gonna do here is just kind of put the lid back on, and we're gonna let this just kind of simmer away here for a little bit longer. Let this boudin break down. You can see our boudin has broken down. So this is the time where we're gonna go ahead and add in the last of our seafood stock, and we're gonna put in probably 1, 2, 3, about 4 to 5 tablespoons of heavy cream, and just kind of mix that through. We'll basically bring it back to a simmer, and I will bring you guys back when we're ready, okay? All right, guys, so it's time for us to get our grits going here. And what I've got going is I've got 6 cups of water that I've brought to a rolling boil here. And we're gonna go ahead and start to introduce our grits. We're gonna be cooking about 1.5 cups of grits dry here. So we're gonna start to put some in here. We'll probably put half of it in there. Gonna stir it around. And then what we're gonna do is we've got our mascarpone cheese, and we're gonna do that in there. It's got that's about an 8-ounce little tub of mascarpone cheese that we just added. And then we'll go ahead and add the rest of our grits. and we'll return this to a boil. Keep it stirring around so we get all that cheese incorporated. This is going to be a really nice and thick grit here. We're going to add some salt. We are going to go ahead and pop the lid back on and let this simmer here for roughly, it's going to be about 5 to 8 minutes, something like that. And we'll call our grits done. Make sure that up there in your YouTube search window, make sure you type in there hashtag cooking against cancer. So once you do that search, you're going to see a lot of videos from all the content creators that are going to be involved in this collaboration today. So make sure you go check out all those videos, give them thumbs up, subscribe to them if you haven't subscribed to them, and always turn on the notification bell so you know when their new content hits the channel. Again, this is all for a great cause and our way of giving back towards the fight against cancer. So definitely make sure you go check out everybody's video and support everybody. And hey, cancer sucks. All right. All right. So let's take a look at our boudin gravy here. At this point, we're going to go ahead and reintroduce our andouille sausage that we made a little while ago. So we're going to go ahead and put this in now. Any juice that's in the bottom of that bowl, you want to go ahead and get that in there as well. Give that a good little stir. We're coming down the home stretch, guys. Almost finished here. Stay with me, because we got one final step, and that is we're gonna get this shrimp put in here. All right, so let's get this shrimp dumped in. It's not going to take very long once we get this in and keep it heated through. I'm turning up the heat to high for a little bit. We're just going to let this cook long enough to get this shrimp done. So it's literally going to be a matter of minutes here. So we got that there. We'll put the lid back on here and we'll let this go for about 4 to 5 minutes and we'll check it then. All right, guys, so we've been going here with our shrimp in after we put in our andouille sausage there. It's probably been about 5-6 minutes. So we're gonna give a look here, and you can see that shrimp is done, guys. It didn't take very much. You know, shrimp doesn't take long for shrimp to cook. So we are finished making our dish, guys. So tell you what, I am going to get this plated. All right, so this is how we're gonna get this dish plated up. We are gonna put some of our grits in the bottom of our bowl here. And again, we made these grits nice and thick, because that's pretty much the way I like my grits, especially with this dish. And we're just gonna take some of our boudin gravy with our shrimp, and we're gonna pour that right over top of it, guys, just like that. Just a little bit more because we can. And then what we'll do is we'll take some of the green onion that we went ahead and chopped up. I kind of did that off camera. Didn't want to bore you with chopping up green onion. And basically, just gonna sprinkle some on top. That right there is my shrimp and grits and a boudin gravy with a little brandy in it.